It's the potty mouth safe space for balancing daddy duties and creative careers. Let's get into it with artists, creatives, and business pros that have similar hardships and victories in fatherhood. It's the Creative Dad Pod, hosted by 5-time Emmy-winning videographer, documentarian, and one-time daddy, Adrian Huerta. Our guest on this episode of the Creative Dad Pod is multifaceted daddy Ivan Trejo, owner and operator of the pop-up experience turned restaurant experience, Mastica. With the foundation being located in the French Park Historic District at the Santa Ana Diesel in Santa Ana, California, Mastica is creating food with flavors as diverse and fused together as Southern California, or as best described by Ivan, a world chew. Much like everyone on the food come up with little to no budget for marketing, Ivan was implementing his creative background in visual art into his business. The graphic art, photography, and videography are all done along with the food execution by him. That's a lot of duties for sure, but I think more importantly, you're also partner of Susana and the creative dad of Mateo Trejo. We welcome to the pod, Ivan Trejo.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I told you.
For the kind of words.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you kind of sort of half wrote that. Some of those were yours.
Yeah, maybe.
But that's what the screening's for, man. But no, man, welcome to the pod. This is the very first one. This isn't the first time we've interacted on a podcast together, right? This is we had the Altura podcast, which I produce and kind of sort of guide. And you were on there, and you were talking about Mastica with Nico, with the Altura guys, and somewhere in there we snuck in some daddy combo. And I wanted more, and that's basically why you're here. I wanted more. You congratulated me on being a dad, and I had one question: is it hard? And my question now, because I need more, is it still hard?
Yeah, it's funny because like I told you when I first got here. By the way, thank you for inviting me over to your beautiful home.
Thank you.
Into this nice little living room. It feels real nice. I like your Herman Miller chair over there. It's pretty cool.
It's a faux.
But I was listening to that podcast on the way here, and that you asked that question, and I was just like, oh, like that's where we're literally going to talk about that. Like, some months later. Is it still hard? It is. Now, especially opening up a brick and mortar.
Right. Now, timeline wise, Mateo, I think it was 1, and now he's 2.
Okay, when did that?
It was about a year ago. It was it was just after the opening. Yeah, Jeez. So it's about a year ago. Yeah, for sure.
Oh yeah, that was December 2021.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, time flies. Yeah. So yeah, Mateo was 1. Yeah. Yeah, and now he's 2 and 3 months. So does it get easier? No, it gets harder because they're growing and they're experiencing the world in their own way, and you definitely have to have a 16 eyes on them,
Yeah.
More than when he was just 1 and he was very stationary. Now he knows how to use his legs and
right. But he's also an explorer.
He's an explorer.
He wants to discover things. He wants to see what's around him.
He is not afraid. He's very curious of everything. In a way, that's how I was as a child, but not as physical. You know what I mean? Like, I was a very quiet kid, very like to myself as a kid.
So Mateo is 2 years now, but give us a little bit of insight of who he is. Who is Mateo now, and where do you think he's going?
Mateo is this lovely young little boy, and I'm sorry if I get emotional. But he has his mother's eyes, and he has my lips and my ears, and I can tell he has my like heart and spirit when it comes to things. Like I can tell already that he cares and he feels so much, and I feel like in the relationship, I'm the more the emotional one. I'm very like sentimental, and like maybe it's a product of like how I grew up, and like I've not necessarily romanticized everything, but I see everything in a different way, and everything's very special to me. I can see that he has that. Like, dude, it's so crazy. We were at the park. We were at the park last week on Saturday, and we were playing there, and then there was this like, the kid must have been like 5 years old, and he had a ball, like a soccer ball. And Mateo, he loves playing with with balls and stuff. Like that's one of his favorite. He loves throwing them. He loves kicking them.
Cool.
But there was this kid and he had this soccer ball. And Mateo kept pointing like, ball, the ball.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's his ball, blah, blah. Like, I'm sorry, But the kid like left it for a second, and Mateo went over there and he went to go get it, and he picked it up, and the kid was like, "Hey, that's mine," and he kind of scared Mateo, and he dropped it, and Mateo came running to me, and he was like hugging me, and I was like, "It's okay, blah blah," and that just broke me because he's gonna experience those kinds of things on his own, and it's just
as
like
simple as it is.
Yeah, as simple as it is, but it's just like, dude, it floored me. I picked him up and I hugged him, and he put his head on me, and I was just like, it's okay, don't worry. Like, that's gonna, I didn't say it was gonna happen, but I was just like, don't worry, Bubba. Like, you have a ball, we'll go get you a ball. I'll get you one better, And he was fine, but he was just like, I saw that he was affected by like the world, and that like crushed me, But honestly, what I feel like being a father is you have to learn how to, like, as much as it hurts, we just talked about this earlier, about, them sleeping on their own or whatever. As much as it hurts and it might feel traumatic to them, it's like you have to let them experience the world, and it's heartbreaking, but it has to be done,
It sucks for sure.
And the reality is you're not always going to be there, As they get older, that kind of it kind of dissipates, and you will be able to be like, you know what, it's okay that he's crying. He's
no. Then I'm going to be the one that's crying all the time. Like, no, don't leave.
No, but he'll like, they slowly come out of it. Like, for instance, today my dad and I took him to the park, and he didn't want to go. He wanted to stay with Mama, but she put him in the car seat, and we drove off. And as soon as we like go down the street, and I put on one of his favorite songs, he's fine.
Done.
And so he ate. He was spending time with me and Grandpa, and he was fine. And then as soon as he saw Mama, boom, he went back.
Right. He's like, good, done. We're good. I'm back to Mom.
Yeah. Him and Mama go on a walk pretty much every day. And throughout our neighborhood, there's those, what are they called? Like those little birdhouse libraries.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Free
like
books.
Free books and stuff.
Yeah.
And every time they pass by one, he always like, he points at it like he wants a book.
Awesome.
And they come home with at least 2 books every day.
Oh, they're gonna be like 8 books. Like,
no,
does he understand like these are gonna leave? These got to go back.
Sometimes, yeah.
Good.
But yeah, he has so many books, and we've been trying to like implement that, especially when he's going to bed. He just discovered maybe like a month ago, Finding Nemo.
Oh, well, how much TV are you letting him watch?
Not too much. Like in the morning for breakfast, it's on and off. Okay. Since I've been working a lot, I'll either make him breakfast or I got to go in the morning, blah, blah, blah.
Right. You work a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you're in the middle of something that's insane. You have a new brick and mortar for Mastica.
Uh-huh.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
You called your shot. If you go and listen to the Altura podcast with Mastica,
it's crazy.
This guy was basically told us his dream of what he wanted in a restaurant. And a year later, it's happening, dude. Congratulations. Bravo.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. So I don't know if you know this or not, but if you, it could have been a lot easier to just get a regular job instead of, manifesting your dreams.
Dude.
How's it been? Well, being a dad and growing this?
It is. I'm going to circle back to what I said about growing up and taking to heart what my parents said about you could do and be whatever you want to be. There came a lot of sacrifice in that and a lot of hardship within me because I was kind of being defiant of what my mom and my dad wanted for me, in the sense of they wanted me to go to college, get a job, So it's like when they saw me in high school and I was like not really leaning towards that, they're like, whoa. Yeah, you could be whatever you want to be, but we were just we're just kidding. Like you need to
stay on the path.
You need to do something. Yeah. And I was it wasn't like I was never a punk with like a mohawk, but I was punk in the way of like, no, I want to pursue my dream and what I want to do and passion. I was always like a straight edge kid, you know what I mean? I never fell into like drugs or anything like that, but I was very much of punk in the sense of like, I wanna see this through. Like
Right.
I believe in myself. I'm gonna do this. And like,
Well, you're a millennial, correct? So
yeah,
you fall on that. So that means your
yeah,
parents kind of sort of wanted you to fall on when they wanted you to have a better life.
yeah,
They
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
you to go to college. They wanted you to have that standard,
Yeah, and I
right?
and like look, yeah, and like looking back at it, is like I understand why they wanted that for me. They came from fucking, they came over here for that to sacrifice for us, and it was just like, what are you doing?
We,
Like, yeah,
I tried to help you, and you want to do this to me.
yeah. So it's been very hard in the sense of like I've kind of had to make my parents like upset and have them worried, and I've gone through periods where I wasn't making money at all, and then I went to periods of like, oh, I have a job, and then, oh shit, I don't, you know what I mean? So it's like, if I'm honest and like just truthfully, the moment I knew I was gonna be a father, something internal, spiritual in me just turned on. It was like, okay, it's time to get to work. And I did what I just know how to do it, and it's like what I'm passionate about. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start cooking again, but it's gonna be under my own terms. And on top of that, the like pandemic happened, so I was just like, it's time. Like I have 9 months. Let's get started. And yeah, that's when Mastica began. It began because something within me was like, you're gonna be a dad. It's time to bust your ass. It lit the fire under my ass, basically.
Right.
And I'm eternally and forever grateful for that, because without doing that, I don't think Mastica would have really happened. I wouldn't have had the drive. And Mateo being born and like me becoming a father gave me purpose.
Right.
I put purpose to my passions and like what I wanted for myself and ultimately for my family.
Right. Let's go to the point where you don't have a kid.
Mm.
Your creative juices are kind of everywhere. Where
Yeah.
I'm doing photos, I'm doing films, I'm doing music videos, I'm cooking. You could do whatever you want, wherever you want. But the thing is, like, there's no idea, there's no concept of like honing it all together and focus. Right. Susana is pregnant, and you think, let's put it all together.
Yeah.
At no point was it, I need to get a regular job or work for somebody else.
I saw that was an option, obviously, and I was just like, I could, but then
I'd fucking hate myself.
Yeah. And I was just like, I'm too smart to like not try this. And I give credit to Susana for that, because she always had my back when it came to like what we were gonna do. So then I have this, I have her on my side, and do what you think is right, and I believe in you. And I was just like, well, I'm gonna do it, So
A good support system is mandatory in this sitch.
Especially, yeah. And she's an incredible mother, like,
She's letting you open up a restaurant. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to say anything else. You should, though.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, introduce us to Susana. Who is she? The mother of your child, your partner.
Texan.
A Texan, a Tejana. Big up San Antonio.
Yep.
Roosevelt High School, correct?
Yeah.
We've had this talk. I'm not stalking. We've had this talk.
No, yeah. She's just well, I'll describe it how I told her how I felt about her, and especially once we got when we found out that we were pregnant, how I described it was, I found my mirror. Everything that I believed in, when it comes to like morals and like what we want in our future for a family, and I found my mirror, and like she wanted those things, and I was like, I don't need anybody else. I don't need I'm happy.
Right.
She's just this amazing, lovely woman.
Right.
This little cowgirl that lassoed my heart, and then we made a beautiful little baby boy. She's just an amazing mother. She's being the situation that we're in, is that she's raising Mateo when I'm not there. It's a humongous sacrifice.
Yeah. Long hours, long days. But not only just like the idea of, we're talking about the future of Mastica, which is operating it.
Yeah.
You are literally starting a business, needing to be there to build and paint and graphic and hire people. And
even prior to that, like the sacrifice of just starting Mastica, and then once it took off, like maintaining that, I've never worked this hard in my life. Like the sacrifice of, like I don't get to go to bed with them because I'll tuck them in, say goodnight, and I have to go back downstairs and work till like 2 a.m. And it's been a lot of work and a lot of sacrifice. And I just learned that, I'm not going to always be able to be there and have like, those like quote unquote special moments with them. What made me happy is knowing that I could provide for them. And any moment that I had, whether it be on the weekends or, on a Monday after a hectic weekend of pop-ups, it's like Monday or Sunday. Sunday is our day as a family. Right. Let's go have Chinese food. And we were doing that for like a good 2 months. Is like we'd go in on Sundays and have like dinner at this Chinese restaurant that we really like.
Just Chinese food? Is it? I mean, you're a chef. Is it just Chinese food?
No, yeah, it is.
It's like Chinese food.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah, I love.
Oh, it's a tradition.
Yeah, it became like a tradition. Yeah. Like it was just like you were gonna go have Chinese food on Sundays.
Where at? What are we looking at?
China Palace. It's in Tustin, California. It's really good.
Okay.
And it's like very old school. Like it's actually like a dying breed. Like those kinds of China. But actually, in Orange County, we used to have a lot of like Chinese restaurants where it was like very traditional, like the classics. Mm-hmm. And this is one of those like dying restaurants. But luckily, they're still open and they're just.
Well, because you go there every Sunday.
No, yeah. So you learn, you learn to cherish every moment that you can with them because you have to work. And luckily, I love what I do. Right. I could be working at fucking Costco or somewhere else at 9 to 5, and dude, I know myself. And if I were to do that, I would fall in a deep, not depression, but I wouldn't be happy.
Financially, you would be able to support your family, and you have some time to work. Some creatives do that, right? Like where they have a day job, and then that has nothing to do with creativity or their art, and then they go and they basically unleash after work at night on the weekends. But you want it all. You want all the time for you.
Yeah, and like I said, it's a sacrifice because it's uncertainty, but at the same time, you just have to know and be willing to put in the work and make those sacrifices. Whatever may come, but you need to push on. Right. And that's essentially what I did. And
what you're talking about in a regular job, there would be unhappy moments.
Yeah.
And you would bring that home.
Yeah.
I mean, it's possible to leave it at the door, but it's hard.
It's hard.
Do you find hard moments with you building and doing what you want?
Like if I'm being honest and truthful, I haven't had that with Mastica. No, there's definitely been weekends where I'm like, damn, like I don't want to. Yeah, there was one weekend where I threw my back out. I think on a Friday, and I had a pop up that Saturday, and I was in the most excruciating pain that I've ever been in. And thankfully, Nico was there and he picked up the slack, but it was just like, because I was going nonstop. I'm talking about every weekend it was a pop-up for a good 3 months, maybe even more. Like, but it's just like, it's not just a weekend thing. It's like, it takes a whole week to prepare for a weekend because I do everything. I have to develop the menu, design the menu, post the menu, come up with my shopping list, go shopping, come back, put everything away, prep the night before, load everything on a truck, drive to the location, load everything off, set up, work for like 7 hours, break down, clean, put everything back in the truck, drive home, take everything down, make sure everything goes back in the fridge. Sometimes, dude, there's nights where I get home at like midnight and I'm like, I'll do this in the morning.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, then I have to go home, shower, go to bed. And then, dude.
There's a kid and a partner somewhere in there, right? There's Mateo and Susana somewhere.
Yeah. Thankfully, Susana's very understanding.
Right. Sweetheart.
Yeah, and I mean, Mateo's still young, but I know he knows, like, oh, daddy's not here because he's at work. I hope he knows that, he will know that. It's just a fucking hell, dude. Every time I come home, I am sore,
Right.
and I take a shower, and I lay in bed, and I wake up the next morning stiff as a fucking board.
Right.
But I love what I'm doing, and what wakes me up, what gets me going, is Susana, Mateo there, and
Right.
then like, hey, it's Sunday, like let's go do something.
Right.
Wake up. I don't want to go get a matcha latte, but I know my girlfriend does, so we're gonna go do it. You know what I mean? So it's like you make up for it,
Right.
and it's not because I feel guilty, but it's just like you need to do things in order to be present.
Well,
And
it's give and take.
it's give and take,
Right.
And I know my absence does mean a lot, but hey, I'm doing this for us.
Right.
Even though it's my dream, you and Mateo reap the rewards of it. We all do.
You have a lot of love to give.
Yeah, and it's been 2 years of that, of just the grind.
Right.
And in between that, it's been like birthdays, holidays, family things I've gone through. My dad went through cancer. He had prostate cancer, and we went through all that, and like other family stuff. It's like life.
Yeah.
Life happens in between all these moments, and it's
busy.
It's
busy. You look good for having no sleep.
Yeah.
And lots of stresses.
Yeah.
But I mean, kudos to you for handling it, man.
Thank you.
I mean, that's tough. I mean, that sounds like, I mean, you just explaining your day of your week of pop-ups stressed me out.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, all the personal stuff,
the
family stuff. That's a load, dude.
And
that's a load.
In that, I'm sure this is true for you and many creatives. Being creative isn't something that I definitely think it's something you're born with, but if you don't feed that aspect of yourself, it doesn't progress, it doesn't grow. So in between all this life stuff, work shit, and like family, and you need to feed that part of you. So that means staying awake so you can watch that film that you've been wanting to watch. That means going to see a midnight showing of a film at a movie theater. That means going to see a band play because you need fuel to continue moving forward. Right. If you don't feed that, you know what I mean? It's like people think that we just come up with these ideas out of our ass, but it's like, no, it's because you have to continue putting work into your creative.
It's the influence.
And just taking it just as much as you eat. Like I eat for inspiration and just to know what things taste like. I need to watch movies. I need to listen to music. I need to learn about new music in order to feed all that other aspect of myself. And that in itself is a sacrifice too, because it's like, well, do you want to go watch a movie by yourself, or do you want to spend time with your partner? Sometimes it's like I have to spend time with my partner, but sometimes it's like, hey, I want to go do this.
You need to squeeze in.
Yeah. And maybe that's you just watching a fucking music video while you take a shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it's like you need to feed that, or else you're going to go crazy and you're not going to be able to think and have those ideas anymore. It's scary, but that's what I've learned being a creative dad.
I'll admit that this podcast stems from, I'll be honest, from me not doing things that were, as my fiance says, fill my cup. Right. It was almost like I was filling other people's cup.
Yeah.
And I wasn't filling my own. Where was I with a kid in play? That takes time away from filling my cup. Right. Before it was like, go to work, do your thing, go to a show, go to a bar and interact with people because I need to interact with humans, go to work at Altura, whatever. Something had to give. Luckily, I had paternity leave. And we used it. We went to Texas, did all this stuff. I stepped away and I realized, man, all this stuff that we're doing and interacting and, going to go see movies and learning what Antonio wants to do and seeing your family, all that stuff filled my cup. It was a happy time.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to fill it. I didn't have the mental capacity to fill anybody's cup anymore.
Yeah.
I wanted to fill mine.
Mm-hmm.
I ran it by a couple of people. They thought it was cool. I was happy about it. I was actually doing what you were saying, finding time to create, to write. Like I wrote this intro last night here on this couch after Nicole and Antonio went to sleep.
Mhm.
You know, they crashed, and I was like, okay, they're asleep. I'm gonna go hang out on the couch. I'm gonna watch some wrestling, and I'm gonna write this. It came out like nothing.
Yeah,
It was beautiful.
beautiful intro.
Thank you. I didn't think my writing was beautiful. I
No,
thought
your
like,
writing is great. I
thank
think,
you.
Yeah.
But the idea of flow
Yeah.
and the idea that there's stuff coming out of me, and it
Mhm.
makes me happy.
Yeah.
I needed to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's important for creatives. When you have a kid come in, I think you need to find that balance. You have to give up something. Like, I don't go to bars anymore. I don't really
Yeah.
party like that anymore.
Yeah.
But now what do I do? Something else had to give, and now I'm filling it with
Mhm.
filling myself up, and then filling my own cup, and then
Yeah.
hopefully doing this more often.
Yeah. And what I used to do is I used to go and photograph and film a lot more people, you know, and that was my way of like interacting with people. That's just the truth, you know.
Is there anything you had to give up that you don't like? You know, Mateo's coming
I mean,
up.
definitely like going out like in that way of just like to hang out and just see the world, kind of, you know, like just go out to bars or like clubs or whatever. Not clubs, but you know what I mean. Not necessarily because I'm not, I've never been a real like drinker or whatever, but what I do enjoy is nightlife and like experiencing
Being in
people and like
scenes
life, you know
and,
what I mean? And yes,
right.
different scenes. I used to go to a lot more shows, you know. I used to go to the movies a lot, way more. I don't know if
Right.
I'm a humongous movie person. That kind of like fell into the wayside, like all that, you know.
Right.
Luckily,
So you don't just give up things that you don't want to give up. You also have to give up things that you want.
yeah,
Right.
definitely. Luckily, all my friends have been amazing friends in the sense of they've accepted that I'm more of a homebody. I'm like more with my family now, and they've come to my home and like I think definitely like other dumb shit kind of like it's not that I had a sacrifice but I definitely like kind of gave up like me being obsessive like looking for new music. Like I used to digitally dig through blogs and
Right.
like I used to give a lot of time into like that kind of stuff, that like shooting, like taking more portraits of people and like
Right.
friends and stuff.
Right.
And yeah, now all my I have this project called Recently, and it's a skate video about life, and there's no skating. It's just my day-to-day life, things that I film, right? And there's been a significant change of like when I met Susana to now, because now all my Recentlys are my family and
Right.
like friends, obviously, but
Right.
you can see, you know, I started that project back in like 2013, and it's been an ongoing thing since then. And I try to upload a new one every 2 months, you know, but sometimes it's not 2 months, sometimes it's 6 months. Why? Because life gets in the way now with my son, and I don't let it get to me, you know what I mean? It's just like it is what it is.
It's almost like you're reaching. Like you're reaching for that release, because that
Mhm.
release means you
You
went
still
through
got
stuff.
it.
Yeah, still got it.
I still got it.
Well, the funny that kind of leads to some things that I've given up, or the process
Yeah.
of like you were digging through blogs and stuff. I used to do the same thing. Obviously, all these records behind you. I used to dig through this stuff all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of sort of gone into what can make this easier. Like, okay, so now I have newsletters that send me music,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, thanks, Bandcamp. You gave me
Yeah.
the latest death metal and the latest electronic music come out. Cool. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
through these. Barely, kind of, sort of go through those.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks, but
Yeah.
it's feeding my soul a little bit.
Yeah.
But also the same thing happens with photography. I haven't really taken photos at shows or people or anything, and
Yeah.
I'm still reaching, and I'm reaching by shrinking my cameras, right? Because I mean, to get out and change the lenses I want, and
Yeah.
I can't do that while I'm holding a kid.
Yeah.
So basically, from a mirrorless camera, $3,000 Sony camera
Mhm.
that has 2.8 f1.8
Yeah.
lenses, expensive, is gone,
Yeah.
and I've gone to point and shoots.
Mhm.
So I think it's reaching for that creativity. I don't want it to go away. I'm not using it as much as I want,
Yeah.
but that's reaching for the release.
Yeah, now my favorite camera, because it's easiest, my phone.
Yes, sir.
You know, because I'm like running around now, and I'm like I have to pay more attention to my kid. I don't have time to go and set up my camera, but I will say now it's nice because my lens is literally shifted to my son. So now when I do want to make a video, and like all of like my recent videos have been like short videos of my son, like his first haircut, his birthday parties I've filmed, and
Ooh,
I put a lot of like
right.
effort and time
The
into
the moments.
moments.
That are like,
Him and Susana. I have one I really like. It's called Hola Dios te amo, and it's like him and her, like they were doing like finger painting in the backyard, and I
oh,
filmed
I
that.
saw that on your
Yeah,
grandpa.
so it's like
Beautiful.
n- n-
Yeah.
I can still film. I can still exercise and flex that muscle, that creative muscle of myself. But now it's shifted to my son and my family,
Yeah.
which is fine because I'm still creating. I'm still
Right.
using, and I'm still exercising that part of myself.
So and it has nothing to do with money. It's not the idea that I just don't want this to. I paid all this money for this black magic.
Yeah.
I should use it.
Yeah.
It's actually you trying to still create.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I do the same thing. So we're shooting this on Sony's. We have an FX6 and an FX3.
Mm-hmm.
And when Antonio was born, I used the FX3 and carried it with me all the time just to record him. This guy, half of his life is cinematic and beautiful.
That's my son's.
And I say half
because
eventually I realized I can't carry this thing around and I can't just pull it out and start shooting and make it, no, Antonio, wait, no, let's get this lighting.
Yeah.
This is beautiful. Oh, wait, hold on, don't move. Now it's like I bust out my phone and I got to get what I got to get. It's almost like that's the best tool. The best tool is the one that you have easily available to you.
Yeah. Like and then there's also those intentional moments where, I know we're going to go to the Irvine Spectrum and there's a carousel there. I'm going to bust out the black magic. And I'm like this weirdo dad with this humongous camera, like, you know what I mean? Like you just look funny. And then I was thinking like, can I take this to Disneyland when we took him to Disneyland the first time? But then I was like, nah, you don't need to take this. Like your phone's enough. Yeah. So
it's turned into just carry your phone.
Yeah.
No, I feel you. But also the other hard part for me with carrying these cameras is there's post.
Yeah.
I got to upload this.
Dude, there's like,
How many projects
are
you sitting on right now? That
so many, like at least 3 months of like footage that I've recorded. And then also like we just came back from Mexico and I took my camera, my like Fuji X Pro 3, and I was taking photos, but then there was times where I wouldn't even pull it out. Why? Because it's just like, you have to push the stroller. You have to take him up. He needs to go to the bathroom. Or just you get lazy. You know what I mean? And you have your phone.
Yeah, just use your phone.
But there's photos on the memory card that I haven't even seen yet.
Right.
And
I'm so like all that stuff. I've been anal about that. Once I get home, everything comes off the card. But that's just practice, my practice.
Yeah.
But I understand where. I'm tired like this, or I need to go do something with my kid.
Yeah, I
need to go change his diaper, and then you forget.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been there, but I'm pretty anal about that. Luckily, I bring that practice from my professional life of quick and turn because I've fucked myself.
Obviously, you have an Emmy sitting over there, right? Or what is that?
It is an Emmy. Yeah. This right here. This little guy.
That little award.
This little girl.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been a couple places. I've done a couple things. But let's get back to Mastica really quick. How is the brick and mortar going? When is it opening? And also, do pop-ups continue after this? Are they done?
No, they are still a thing.
Because you're well known for your pop-ups. Your pop-ups are fun. They're different. It's Mastica, but it's a brand that I know that changes.
Very much so.
But it's still you, and I think that's important to highlight.
Yeah, that's been the question of as soon as I made the public announcement that we found a physical space on Christmas, and that has been the question since then. Is like, oh, are you still going to do pop-ups? Like people that have asked me to do pop-ups in the past have asked me, are you still doing? Yeah, for the time being, if I can handle it, yes.
Okay.
Are they as big of a priority as they were before? Not necessarily, just because I don't want to overwork myself like that, if I don't have to. And also because like I know as soon as that place opens up, I'm going to be busy. So it's like I need to...
I mean, you've worked in the kitchen before.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what you're...
I do.
Taking.
And luckily, the restaurant is literally 3 minutes away from home. it's a blessing.
That's
So
phenomenal.
when this opportunity arose, I was like, I'd be a fool not to pitch my idea. I'd be a fool not to take it. I pitched my idea. I proposed my, what I wanted, and thankfully it went in my favor, and
Right.
it's happening. It's going well. We've finalized design. Like what the space is gonna look like, what it's gonna feel like. It's like 3 humongous mood boards.
Right. Oh.
Yeah, it's like, I began sourcing things. I brought a lot of stuff back from.
You actually sourced stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, because I think this is one thing that I thought was interesting about you. And Mastica was you and another person doing basically everything.
Mm-hmm.
Have you learned how to delegate? I mean, that's hard for a creative.
Yeah, thankfully, I'm doing this with my best friend, and I've known my friend Dana since I was 15, and he's 4 years older than me, so he's always been like an older brother to me, and he has, in all honesty and full transparency, he has helped me grow in like that into the creative that I am. He made it possible for me to open up my mind into thinking differently, and he exposed me to so much culture at that age, and I still do. I still think he is one of the smartest people I've ever met, one of the coolest people I've ever met. Like, thankfully I'm doing that with him. He's like the project manager of this, and our like landlord, or whatever you want to call it, is his dad, and his dad has known me since I was that young. So it's all cohesive. It just all makes sense. You know what I mean? So it's been great. And delegating in the sense of like, he's been helping me with all like the other things that I know, not that I can do, but it's just like, I don't want to have to deal with submitting these permits to the city. I'm not that good at Photoshop and like Illustrator. So Dana has been helping me with that, and he's always helped me with all like my copy. Like, he's a phenomenal writer. He's been helping me since I was like 15 with all that. Like, where I fall short, he helps me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I almost feel like in that point in your career where you've been doing this for a really long time,
Mm-hmm.
that partnerships kind of sort of help you get to that next level.
Very much so.
Really good partnerships. Yeah. And it's hard to find good help.
Mm-hmm.
It almost sounds like you needed to work with him. Like, this might have been the only person that you could have done this with.
Yeah,
at this point in your life and your career.
Definitely. And there's been moments where he hasn't been there to help me with, with Mastica or whatever. But I've known him for so long that what he's instilled in my brain, I can think and do things in the way that he would. You know what I mean? And yeah, I'm eternally grateful for this friendship and this bond that I have with him. I can honestly say he's my best friend. I love him to death. He's been helping me with a lot of this as well, and his dad too, and my friend George too. He's going to be doing the build out. We're all doing it together, but he is a master carpenter in his own right, and we are like designing the chairs and everything, like the benches.
You couldn't do that yourself.
Of course not.
Right.
I definitely can show you like, hey, I like that chair. Can we do something like that?
Yeah.
I know what I like.
Right.
I have a strong opinion on like aesthetics and design. I've culminated this like awesome team, so it's like we can execute all those things. And what more can you want?
That's fucking rad. Congratulations on all of it. Next thing is there a kids menu at Mastica?
There's definitely going to be a kids menu. That's a humongous for me. And there's also, Susana came up with this idea of like having a basket with toys. So when your kid comes, and the hostess knows that there's a kid, they'll be like, oh, would you like to choose one of these toys? And they're all toys from like Mexico and stuff, like cute little rattles and like little puppets and stuff like
Hell
that.
Yeah.
Stuffed animals and stuff. And we're going to have like a little coloring section and stuff like that.
Wow.
Things that Mateo...
It's kid friendly. Mateo friendly.
I want it to be, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a place where parents could come and have a date night with their kids, because sometimes you can't leave your kid alone with grandma and grandpa or with a babysitter. I personally, we struggle with that. Mateo comes with us wherever we are, he is too. So it's like, it would be nice to go to a place that's like hip and cool and like, hey, you know, your kid is welcome.
Right.
Sit over there, you know.
Right.
Don't worry.
We
We'll
got you.
take care of you. Yeah. I want it to be very inclusive in that way. And why? Because I have a kid. I know how it is.
So is there anything that you make that Mateo like loves? Is there anything food wise you're introducing to him?
Yeah, his it's funny because his taste has changed since obviously he was like a little kid, like I guess 1 or whatever, but little kid. He doesn't like eggs anymore that much,
Anymore?
unless it's mixed with like ham. Before I would make him a soft scramble, you
Okay.
know,
Yeah.
a very beautiful soft scrambled egg,
Right.
and he'd eat that shit up. But now it's just like he's really into cheese now. So I've the other day I made him like a quesadilla. He liked that.
Are you giving him different kinds of cheeses, or is it just like
no?
cheddar?
He
constantly?
he likes cheddar, but he likes like Parmigiano Reggiano
Oh,
on his eggs.
Does he know that?
I don't know if he does, but
I mean, he obviously recognizes the flavor, but like,
that he loves avocado, so he'll have like an avocado toast sometimes.
I mean, your menu is very eclectic. What's the most
It-
imaginative thing?
he likes tacos de cabeza.
Really?
Yeah, which is crazy because it's like cow head.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like barbacoa, kind of like steamed and pulled off, right?
Yeah, exactly. So he likes that.
As Susana, it's so barbacoa in South Texas is a steamed head,
Yeah,
basically,
okay.
and very much a Sunday tradition.
Yeah, you San Antonians are on some other shit when it comes to food.
Hey man, fry everything.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool though.
It's delicious.
I really, I enjoyed my time there when we went. We went driving once during COVID or whatever, when she was still pregnant. We went over there. It was nice, and then we went when Mateo was like maybe 1.5, or not even 1.5, just 1. And both times we've always had a good time over there. Yeah. So yeah, Mateo likes tacos de cabeza. He likes rice and obviously like beans, mashed potatoes. He likes chicken nuggets. He likes the dino nuggets, you know, ones,
yeah.
You want to know what's funny is like he had Chick-fil-A maybe twice, and then now every time, because they just opened up a In-N-Out Chick-fil-A combo kind of thing by our house. So now every time we drive past it, he sees it and he goes, like he's hungry.
Oh yeah.
It's so cute. You know what I mean?
On the low key, Chick-fil-A is my favorite place to poop because they play Christian music in the restroom.
Yeah.
It's very calming to me.
I just like how nice they are. The service is, here's the thing. What I really, really love about restaurants is service. And
I mean, that's how you gauge.
But
I mean, that's part of like
I'm just gonna be
status.
honest. The service at most places here in America is dog shit compared to service in like Mexico.
Right.
It's unmatched, dude.
Yeah.
The level of service and like
or just Mexicans in general. You go to a taco. Yeah, I mean,
dude,
you go to like
a
taquero.
Unmatched, man.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know what I mean?
it's like a therapy session with your taquero.
But you find remnants of that in and out and Chick-fil-A, and I think it has to do because they're Christian.
Wow. Okay.
There's a sense of like, hey,
right, be nice. I can get that vibe. I was raised Catholic and went to Catholic school, and okay, I can get that vibe.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if they're gonna supply a really good place to take a shit, be as Christian as you want.
It's pretty clean.
It's clean, and it sounds awesome in there.
That's nice.
It's just comforting. It's like it helps you exercise your demons out.
Yeah.
Literally and figuratively.
Yeah.
Mostly literally for me.
Yeah.
I like to keep my demons. Has there been anything that you've cooked for Mateo that he doesn't like that's broken your heart? Anything from your menu? Anything at home?
Thankfully, no, dude.
He'll like it. He'll eat it all. Yeah. Nothing.
I think it's one. Sorry, Susana, but it's what Mama cooks.
Ooh. Okay.
No, but she makes them like. She really makes really good chicken soup, like caldo de pollo, and he loves that. She makes really good rice, and he'll eat that. But like, yeah, he's just, as he gets older, he's getting a little bit more opinionated, picky. Right. You know what I mean? Yeah, like before we went to the park tonight, she was trying to feed him some pasta that she made that had like, it was like a meat sauce thing, and he didn't want it. She warmed up some chicken strips from the night before. He didn't want it, so he drank like a yogurt, and we went to the park. And then after I took him to In-N-Out, and he ate a whole burger himself.
Let me ask you this. I'm pretty sure you didn't get this a lot because we are talking about being a guy and having a kid. But how was the pregnancy for you?
Well,
I mean, you're physically not changing, or you are, right? The creative pod for the creative dad pod, right?
You want to know something funny? Is like when we found out she was pregnant, I was like, I had made that kind of like that promise to myself even before I was with Susana. I was like, you know what? If ever when I do have a kid with someone, I'm gonna take that 9 months and I'm gonna transform. I'm gonna get fucking fit, this and that.
I'm gonna P90X the shit out of myself.
So then when we got pregnant, I told her, I was like, I'm gonna take 9 months. Watch, I'm gonna get fucking ribs. I'm gonna be able to be able to pick up Mateo like nothing and this and that. It didn't go that way whatsoever, especially since she got pregnant. What we found out, I know I have a video of it when we found out the moment
Did you shoot with your black magic?
No, it was our phone because it was early in the morning and she went and did the test. But it was the day after her birthday, which would have been on Tuesday. Her birthday's on Monday.
Oh,
January 30th. But
happy birthday!
Huh?
Happy birthday!
Yeah, happy birthday, Susana. Love you. Yeah, it was that morning. It was January 31st, and she peed on that steak, and we came back to bed, and she took it out of the thing, and we saw it, and I recorded the reaction, and it was beautiful, and then later that day, I told her, "It's like, you know what? I'm gonna get ripped, and this and that." Didn't happen, and then what? In March, that's when the lockdown happened, and then
so 2 months later, 2 months after,
right? Or when?
Yeah,
it was 2020.
So if
January 2020.
if you had the pregnancy test January 2020, March 2020, the news comes out, and later in March it shuts down.
Yeah,
the 23rd or something.
So then we were like, oh, and then we were just like, well, we're gonna just stay home then, I didn't do shit, and I remember it was funny because I remember March and like all that time when it first happened, dude, it was raining a lot, and so everybody was just indoors and like we didn't do shit, Right. So it was just like that kind of fell down the wayside. Yeah. I was just trying to be as supportive and there for as I could, and obviously given the circumstances of what the world was going through, that didn't help, really. But we made it work, and thankfully we were down in Orange County, so it was a little bit more lenient in a sense. Yeah. But I still made it a point to hey, let's go out, let's drive to the beach, let's drive, But the pregnancy was okay for me. I mean, she was going through her stuff and I was just trying to be as supportive as possible. We watched a lot of movies. We were home a lot, and I tried to do as much as I could. We went to Texas, Right.
But you're pregnant during a pandemic.
Beautiful. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Honestly, it's funny, dude.
At no point was it like, oh, I can't believe we're bringing a kid into this kind of lifestyle and this world.
I didn't really think like that, dude, because I knew I had faith that things were gonna work. We were gonna get out of that or whatever. But obviously, I had my fears and this and that, shit, But it was a beautiful time for me seeing Susana transform into this mom, dude. It was. It's so funny we're talking about this because last night I was going through old photos, man, and it's just like seeing her belly grow, like it was like the most beautiful thing. And to me, dude, it was like she was just glowing. Wow. I was looking at those photos and I was just like, damn, you were like that's when I found you the most sexiest almost. You know what I mean?
But I've heard that before.
Dude, I don't know. It was just something
that makes sense.
She was just so like, she was glowing, she's radiating, and like then knowing that she's creating our baby in her was just like, it was so special, dude.
I mean, that experience and that, I guess, the aura that women give off when they're pregnant, I think it's beautiful because they're doing something that we can't do.
Yeah.
Which kind of sort of makes my question of, how was the pregnancy for you? Kind of sort of like a, I don't know, asshole-ish. But at the same
No.
time, guys go through the same through a pregnancy also. It's there's
Yeah.
getting ready, being scared,
Getting ready, being scared.
getting
Yeah.
stronger, feeling
Yeah.
like you can get stronger,
Yeah.
changing yourself.
Yeah.
But I really legit wanted to know, how the pregnancy was. I'm glad it was positive for you.
It was positive, and luckily, I think her being pregnant through all that shit that was going on with the world, it was kind of a beautiful distraction without obviously calling it a distraction, but it was like something to look forward to, and then yeah, the whole delivery was a whole nother story, the fact that it was only me in the
because of the
room.
pandemic. Right.
Yeah, and that I've never gone through anything that scary in my life. I just wanted my mom there. I wanted another woman in there with us going through that. I've never gone through that. She's never gone through that, and
So it's just you and the doctors, nurses.
oh yeah, dude. And and it got to the point where we had to have an emergency C-section because she was developing this thing called preeclampsia.
Oh yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
And I'll never forget it, dude. She's laying there on the bed. Her doctor says we need to perform this or else it can be bad for the baby. And the doctor's here, I'm here, and she's on the bed in between us. And she turns to me, tears in her eyes. What do you think we should do? I was outside myself, dude. Like thinking about it makes me want to cry. I was just like, I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't ask me, but I couldn't say that. I couldn't really show her that I was afraid, like, but I've never seen that look in her eyes since. I think when a woman is going through that, it's the most honest she will ever be with you as a man. You will never see her more honest than that time when she's there delivering your child. I've never seen that look in her face since. She looked at me and she's like, "What do you think we should do, baby?" And I just looked at her. I was like, we have to do it. I know it's not what we wanted, but we have to do it.
Right.
And she just looked at me and she was like, okay. And I just looked at her. I was like, baby, just pray. And she prayed right in front of me. And it was the scariest thing because as soon as we said, okay, boom, the nurses and everything, the doctor, they started just doing things and it just moved so fast. And then they took her out and they took her into the operating room and I was left there alone. And I was just like,
You weren't allowed in there.
I wasn't allowed in there yet. They had to like prep her, and it was just so scary. And I just kept thinking like, fuck, she's alone. You know what I mean? And then,
And then you're alone.
and then I'm alone. And then they were like, hey, like come into this room, change into the scrubs or whatever. And then we're going to take you in there to see her and to be with her. And when I was in the changing room or whatever, I remember I was like changing and I just broke down and I FaceTimed my mom and dad. I told them what was happening. And they were just like, you got to be strong. And I was just like, dude, I've never wanted my parents more than like in this moment. And yeah, I changed into the scrubs or whatever. And then they took me into that room, dude. And I remember it. Yeah, I've never had real surgery before ever. Thankfully, all I've ever had was like my tonsils removed,
And you're asleep for that. You're not up.
Yeah.
Watching.
So I go into the surgical room and like she's laying there, dude. And I'll never get that image out of my head because I walked past her and I saw her belly open.
Right. The insides and everything.
I saw it for a second and I was like, no, I can't see that. And they brought me over to where she was and she was laying there and it was just like, it went by so fast, dude. And she was just like laying there. She was trembling.
Right.
And I just.
Because of aesthetics, the
anesthesia and just like. All of it, situation. Yeah. All of it, dude. And it was just like hearing all these beeping on all these sounds, dude. And it was crazy. I've never gone through anything like that. And then out of nowhere, I hear a baby crying. And that was it, dude. That moment is just like, what? The first time you hear your baby's like voice, his cry is just like nothing like it. It's like you never heard anything before that. You hear that and then everything's new. And I remember I recorded everything. I had my phone and I was literally recording everything. And I have his first his first like cries and everything, and I remember the doctor was like, your baby's here, your baby's fine, you know, in his little his weird accent. I don't know where the doctor was from, but he had an interesting accent. And then they bring the baby over, and I see Mateo for the first time, and I was just like, they put him in like this little the little bed right in front of me, and I saw him, and they were like cleaning him, and then I looked at his face, and you know, I've never done drugs in my life. I've never even smoked weed, dude. Yeah.
Wow.
But I had a psychedelic experience the moment I saw my son, dude.
That's
I
beautiful.
saw his face and it was morphing. It was turning into people I've never met in my life. And then it turned into like, I saw my grandmother's face. I saw my grandpa's face. I saw my parents, and his face was morphing until finally it stopped, and it was his face. And I was just in full tears. And then I cut his umbilical cord. They cleaned him. They brought him over to Mama, and Susana was like trying to touch him and hug him the best they could, but they were like sewing her up. They were handling her. And yeah, dude, it was the scariest, most beautiful thing I think I've ever gone through.
I mean, that's a lot of. I mean, to go from a natural birth into an emergency C-section to or like a decision to do what the doctors need to do, and you have no control of it, and to go into a situation that you've never been in before that involves a loved one that you have no control over again, and you're about to be introduced to another part of your life that you know nothing about. You don't know what they sound like. You don't know what they look like.
Oh yeah,
and it all comes so fast.
Yeah, dude. And shit, that day, from the moment we went in there till like maybe like 3 days after we were home, I was just always in tears. Like any little thing, dude. Before Mateo, I was always a sensitive person, beyond sensitive. But now, oh, dude, if I just think of him hard enough, tears. I'm always. It's funny because I listened to this podcast with Quentin Tarantino and Joe Rogan, and he said like, "How is it? How is it like being a father now?" And Quentin Tarantino said, "I'm in constant transition of laughing hysterically and completely in tears with my son." And I never related to anything more than that, because that's how it is with me and Mateo. I'm like, we're laughing, and then there's moments where I'm just crying of how special I feel, and like how emotional it is, you know what I mean? And it's true, dude. Like,
but that's love. That's just love, dude.
Yeah, and I've never felt that kind of love with anything or anybody, dude. Like, yeah.
No offense to Mama.
No offense to Mama. Of course not. But it's like she gave me that, and I'm forever gonna be like,
for sure,
indebted to her and like thankful, and I'm gonna love her till the day I die for that,
Dude, that's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
I've never heard a description of seeing like that idea of morphing faces and coming into one when it settles. But I can see that. I can definitely see that. I understand that. Different angles, different faces, they look like different aspects of people in our life, in our bloodline, in our history,
our
people
bloodline,
that we know.
exactly.
And it's like, wait, at this angle you look like your uncle from your mom's side, and this angle you look like a Huerta, you look like my grandpa when he's angry and just sitting. I could see that. That's beautiful. That description is beautiful.
Yeah. And then when they take you to the room and then you do like the chest to chest thing, forget it, dude. I was like sobbing.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like holding him for the first time like that was just like, ugh.
Were you sobbing because you didn't have the body that you wanted, that you planned?
Exactly.
You're like, I gotta take off my shirt.
I have to take off my shirt in front of the nurse and shit. Like, fuck. Maybe no. It was that. And then like coming home, like my dad picked us up from the hospital. We took him home, and we brought them inside. And me and my dad went back outside to get the luggage and stuff. Right. And I just remember just like I felt like a child falling into my dad's arms when I was sad, and he was just hugging me, and I couldn't control my tears. And he's like, "It's okay, like,
yeah, dude, it's fine. Do what you gotta do, man.
He's like, And yeah, and then we went inside, and then seeing my mom hold him for the first time and her crying, like, yeah, like I said, I was in tears for a good 2 weeks straight. Just
moment.
Yeah, and then seeing like seeing like my best friends come, like my best friend Brenda came, seeing her with him, just tears. Seeing the moment like Dana met him, tears. You know what I mean? Like my family, and then my brother, when my brother came home and met, forget it. Like dude.
It's
so
almost like it's
emotional.
the same level of emotions over and over and over and over and over.
Man.
But at least you can feel that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Like you appreciate that, and it's beautiful. I love it, dude.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything.
Yeah,
dude. Thank you for sharing all those stories and your perception and just your hard work and the things you share with people, your creativity. It's inspirational. The way you're a dad. Mateo's very lucky. Susana's very lucky.
Thank you.
Dude, I appreciate it. One last thing before you go. I want your kid to come back and listen to this eventually.
Okay.
I need you to leave him a message. What do you, at this point in time, what would you like to say to your son?
We're just talking about like crying, dude. If I like think about it, I don't know. Just, I know it might be hard for you to listen to me, and I might sound controlling, Mateo, but trust me when I say that I love you with all my heart, and I know what's best for you. And just follow your heart, and know that, mom and dad will always be here for you. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
I love it. Dude, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for giving us the time, dude. And trusting us. I mean, we all need a space, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
They're going to see this first episode and like, damn, this fucking big ass guy is crying. Like, what kind of podcast is this?
Well, I think you're kind of setting the bar. I think I think I only do with this.
Every dad that comes on this podcast, you got to cry.
Yeah. Or it doesn't come out.
Yeah, or it doesn't come out.
Cool, dude. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Special thanks to our guests and listeners. Feel free to reach out on all our ads, suggest some topics, leave some feedback, or just drop a hello. Remember, you're never alone, Dad. This has been the Creative Dad Pod.